What is up, everybody? Welcome. Today, I want to talk about boxing and martial arts in general. I want to talk about a comment that grabbed my attention, and the last time I talked about boxing in one of my videos. It was when Anthony Joshua defeated Francis Ngannou, and and um, and I mentioned that in my opinion, in my belief, that boxing is a better striking martial arts. Now, I was very specific about saying that because I know that MMA guys are better at grappling. They're better at getting the takedown and fishing for the takedown. Um, but when it comes to striking, and I know boxing doesn't have any kicks, but it's still, in my opinion, a superior striking martial arts. And I'm going to talk about why in this video. And I'm going to acknowledge this guy's comment because I think it's a very common the thing that he was saying. It's a very common belief and a very common idea or thought what he was saying. um, and I still believe that boxing is a superior striking based martial arts. um, but he did make a good argument. I'm going to acknowledge his argument, and I'm going to say why his argument actually makes my argument a little bit stronger. Um, and by the way, I don't acknowledge all comments. The good comments, I usually say thank you and move on. The bad comments, if they're an argument, if they're a good argument, or if they're an argument that I feel like I need to tackle because it's a very common one, I'll acknowledge it. Sometimes I get people who just say, "Oh, you're trash," or "you suck," or whatever. Those types of comments I really don't acknowledge because they don't mean anything to me. Um, it's just a guy kind of saying something, but it's not really an argument. It's just something the guy said. And those kind of comments, I feel like they don't deserve attention. But this guy, I feel like he was respectful. He was a little passionate about it, which is fine, to be passionate about something and to say certain words. But I still feel like he was respectful, so I'm going to acknowledge the comments. So, his argument, um, was that how can I say that because Anthony Joshua, who's a professional boxer, beating Francis Ngannou, who is not a professional boxer, mean that boxing is a superior martial arts, a striking based martial arts than MMA, or he said discipline. And I understand why he said discipline because MMA isn't really a martial arts, even though it has martial arts in the name. It's more of a discipline. It's more of a sports. It's more of a sport than an actual martial arts. Boxing, even though it is a sport, it still maintains martial arts roots, and it's based on a real martial arts from ancient Greece. But anyways, his argument was like, how can I base it around one fight that this means that boxing is a superior striking based martial arts? Now, the problem with that argument is that I'm not basing it off one fight. This is just a fight that reminds us of that. Okay, they reminded me of how low the striking abilities of MMA guys, or the level of striking in MMA is very low, in my opinion. Now, there is outliers. There is people within MMA that are superior strikers, but those guys come from martial arts that are primarily striking based. And believe it or not, a lot of them are boxing based. So when you hear something like kickboxing or Muay Thai, okay, which is two of the martial arts this guy mentioned, those two martial arts are pretty much boxing. Okay, why? Because they're the ones that have taken the most from boxing. You look at Muay Thai. You look at the equipment they use. They literally use gloves in there. They use the same shorts as boxers. They have taken so much from Western boxing that they almost look the same. All right. So for him to mention those two martial arts was kind of ironic to me. It was kind of funny to me because he mentioned the two martial arts that I believe are have taken the most from boxing, and that's really what I'm advocating for. That's really what I'm saying. I'm saying boxing is the key to make you a better martial artist when it comes to striking. Period. So if you want to kick better, if you want to land your crescent kick easier, if you think like a boxer, you will find a way to land that better with a higher percentage of landing it, with a higher percentage of landing it and recoiling your strike safely. Because that's what a boxer does. That's what a boxer's mentality is from. Is that. So most fighters' mentality, or most people that are in combat sports, their mentality is, can I do this cool combo? Can I land this cool kick that I learned? But the boxer or a good boxer focuses on how can I land something, however small it is, however significant it is, safely and exit the danger zone safely. Safety first. By doing this, the guy who wants to land a combo is never going to get a chance to land a combo, and you're always going to be constantly poking at him. Boom, boom, ba. Till you finally open the guy up, then you can start landing the cool shit. That's really what I'm saying. That's really what I'm trying to say. That I wish more MMA guys would start doing because I would expand um, a whole new world of striking based fighters. Now I'm not saying that there's nobody that does it, but I'm saying the majority of people that I see in MMA, they're thinking, if he hits, I hit. He hits me, I try to move out of the way and get it, and hit him, which is fine. But it comes down in that case. It comes down to who's faster, who's stronger, who's taller, and who could outlast the other guy. Okay, and you don't want it. In my opinion, you don't want it to get to that unless there's no other way to go about it. You know, um, a lot of guys that advocate for MMA being better always bring up older fighters, that have been to MMA. Like for example, Tony, and I think another one is Ray Mercer or something like that, who went to MMA and got beat up really easily. Those guys were old. Number one. Okay, those guys weren't making money in boxing anymore because nobody's paying for those fights anymore. So they did a stupid exhibition fight to make money in MMA. They got their ass beat, but they were nothing compared to the younger them. And the younger them would never go to MMA because MMA doesn't pay enough. That's why a lot of boxers don't go to MMA. It's not because they're scared. It's not because they're scared of a little pain in the thigh. Because trust me, that thigh kick is a real thing. The pain is real. But do you think that they can't get used to that? Everything is hard at the beginning. Like at the beginning, when you get punched in the face, you're like, "Oh my god, I can't breathe. I feel like I'm drowning underwater." But then after that, it's like it's over. Like I don't know if I get hit. Okay, boom, bye, whatever. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. The same thing is gonna happen when you start kicking. So I don't think that that's so much of a deterrent for most boxers. The main deterrent is it worth it for me to go to MMA if I'm already getting paid top dollar here? Just to stay ready, they're paying me. You know what I mean? So I don't even know how they do things in MMA, but I don't think they're getting paid for staying ready. I don't know. Maybe they're not. I've heard some stuff about Dana White. I'm not gonna get into that. But getting back to striking. In your opinion, guys, and I want you to pause the video, and I'm gonna ask this question. Well, let me ask the question first, and then pause it. What do you guys think is the best strike in all striking-based martial arts? Now, you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be in a striking based martial arts. I just want to hear your opinions. and I'm going to give you my opinion towards the end of the video. What I think is the best strike in all of martial arts. Um, and just give me your opinion. If it looks cool, and why. Tell me why you think that strike is the best in the world of martial arts. Is it a Buddha palm? Is it a karate chop? Is it a roundhouse? Is it a crescent kick? Is it a spinning back fist? Is it whatever strike you think is the best martial strike in martial arts? Tell me what it is and tell me why. If you think it's a kick, be like, okay, it's a kick because of the power generated from a kick, or it's a spinning back fist because of the power generated with the spin, something like that. And then I will give my opinion um, towards the end of the video, and then you let me know if you agree or disagree, um, whatever. But getting back to boxing, you know, um, that's really what I'm saying. I'm not hating all of these other sports. I'm not saying that 100% a boxer would beat up all of these other guys. That's not what I'm saying. Because at the end of the day, it's up to the individual. It's not necessarily the style or the discipline that they're practicing. It's up to the individual and the decisions they make within a fight. Now, part of that goes into your training and the mentality of the way certain people train. And that's why I like boxing, because the disciplines and the training methods that they have within boxing advocate for certain things that will make you better at fighting. And because they're focused on strikes, if you grab those elements that they have perfected and put it into your kicks, you'll become better. You'll become a better striker altogether. Um, but talking about the old people really quick that have made it, that have gone to MMA and lost. What they don't like to tell you is that a lot of the people in MMA that are successful, you know, there's a lot of boxers that are successful in MMA. They're not going to tell you that because they have an agenda to make MMA just better. But there's a couple of examples. I'm only going to mention a few because I don't have that much time. And also, I didn't really research that much of it. But just the ones that I didn't even research and just know of, one of them is Holmes, and the other one is Conor McGregor. Now, some people are going to say Conor McGregor isn't a boxer. He's an MMA practitioner. But here's the thing. If you ask him, and if you ask the people around him that know him, he's a boxer. Okay, he says it himself. He promoted himself as a boxer. It's not something that I'm making up. I am telling you what they say. They being the people around him, the way they promote him in the beginning. If you go to Wikipedia, you'll see the martial arts that he practices. One of them is boxing. In fact, the main one is boxing. You look at his influences when it comes to fighting, and it's Nasi Hamed, Muhammad Ali, and Bruce Lee. Now, all of these three names, two of them are obviously boxers. If you know anything about boxing, you know who Prince Nas is, Prince Nasi Hamed. You know who Muhammad Ali is, even if you don't know boxing. Okay? And Bruce Lee. Now, Bruce Lee is very interesting because Bruce Lee took another person that took the most from boxing. Okay? Now, you look at his martial arts Jeet Kune Do, and what does it do? It takes elements from boxing to make Wing Chun better and more effective, to make his kicks better and more effective. And that's what I am telling you. That's what I'm trying to say. Boxing is the superior striking art because it will make your striking art better if you apply it to Z martial arts. So even if you look up these guys, you'll find boxing within that. Boxing is the key. That's what I'm trying to say. Um, and And that's why when you saw Ngannou in there, he was confused. He didn't know what was going on. He's like, he's hitting me, but I don't know why he's hitting me. He seems like he's further away from me, but why is he still tagging me? Could it be angles? Could it be that this guy knows angles better than me? Could it be that he's creating the illusion that he's further away than me, but he's still able to reach me with the hand that looks like it's further away from me? All this stuff that is like, it doesn't make sense to a lot of people, but to a person that who's constantly in there in the ring practicing, they know what's going on. But this guy, he was, I bet you he had a bunch of cool combos that he wanted to land. He's like, oh, I know this cool one that I'm gonna do here, here, and there. He never got the chance to do that. That's what happens when you're in there with a guy who is primarily a boxer. Um, Holly Holmes, guys, you guys should look her career up, and there's a bunch of highlights online, and you're gonna see what happens when a boxer incorporates those elements within MMA and makes her kicks better. It makes um, her land better kicks, safer. Of course, she has some losses like every fighter does, but look at her career. Look at what she did to Ronda Rousey. Which is probably the most famous fight that she's in. Um, Ronda Rousey being a judo practitioner, she never got a chance, bro. She never got a chance. Um, and that's what I'm saying. And if the level of striking was that high in MMA, grapplers wouldn't even stand a chance. Most of them, except for them wrestlers, and wrestlers are a different breed. Um, but that's really what I'm saying. And speaking about wrestling, okay, going into wrestling, wrestling is the best martial arts in MMA. Okay, but why is that? Okay, the answer is going to surprise you. Number one is the discipline. It's very similar to boxing in the way they practice. A little bit more strength based, a little bit more stamina based, and a little bit more balance based. Well, not really, but you know what I mean. Um, but it's still, the training methods are about that, are about the physicality. And if you look at boxing, it's the same thing. They're working on conditioning. How long can I go? Can I go for longer and longer and longer? Can I outlast my other guy? Why? Because he's gonna know the same angles I do. So then now it does matter stamina. Um, but the weird thing about wrestling is that you might not know this, but it's a brother of boxing. In fact, in the beginning, boxing and wrestling were taught together as a martial arts to most of the military people, to most of the people in the Greek military. I don't know if it was I think it was the Spartans, but it wasn't just the Spartan. Everybody was doing it in ancient Greece. Um, but it was together. It was one and the same in the beginning. That's why I call boxing and wrestling brothers. Because in the beginning they were inseparable from each other. They were twins. They were twin brothers. They were together, right? And also they would fight naked, as you can see. And there's always a guy with a stick behind them. Me personally, first of all, if you're gonna fight me naked, you win. You won. That's you. You get the fight. I'm leaving. In fact, that's a good technique, guys. If you ever get in a street fight, just take your clothes off, and I'm pretty sure you'll win. And also, why is there always a guy with a stick behind them? No one knows, but I'm not fighting anybody if there's a guy with a stick behind me, and especially not naked. So I always thought that was kind of weird, but I guess it's tradition or whatever. You see right here, you see a guy going for a takedown or defending a kick. It seems like he's defending a kick, which shows you that it was a complete martial arts in the beginning. This is why I keep saying boxing is a complete martial arts. Go to a boxing gym. Hopefully, it's a good one. There is some trash ones out there. Go to a boxing gym. Let them teach you angles. Let them teach you, defense, how to stay safe, and then in your own time, or go back to another gym and start incorporating those elements to your kicks, to your takedowns, to all of that stuff, and you're gonna be way better. And like I said, this ain't stuff that I'm inventing. There's people out there that already do it. Okay, but that's really what I was trying to say in that last video. Um, and you know, another one that we should mention is Clarissa Shields. Her record, I think, is 3 wins and 1 loss, I believe, which is not bad. And I'm willing to bet that that loss was a takedown. I'm pretty sure it wasn't a kick, or I'll look it up because maybe I'm speaking too much, but I'm pretty sure it was a takedown, and it was a submission or something like that, or maybe she lost on points by being taken down too many times. Um, but the thing about the reason I say that is because this is an example of a young boxer going to MMA and doing pretty well. Not doing that bad and doing it smart. By the way, she's not going for the top dog immediately. She's starting off slow, and maybe in the future she'll fight somebody who's um who's more of a top dog. But if MMA continues to be successful, and if MMA continues to grow, pretty soon it's going to be a lot more common for boxers to go to MMA and try to become good in MMA. You know what I mean? And you're gonna start seeing the lines start to blur, and you're gonna start seeing more boxers be more successful, and you're gonna realize how good boxing is as a martial arts. Now, to getting back to the question that I posed to you guys at the beginning, what strike do you believe is the best strike in all of martial arts? Okay. Now, in the beginning, I used to believe that kicks were better. Okay, I used to think kicks were better because number one, they you have more strength in your legs. They're longer, so they reach further. Um, and also it's an extra weapon, extra two weapons that you have on somebody who's like a boxer. But through time, I started learning more about fighting, and I started realizing what strikes are better. Why? Because strength is what I was basing. Yeah, strength and quantity was what I was basing my initial thoughts when I was younger. But then as I got older, I realized punches you can throw more, you can throw faster, and more often without gassing out. Also, punches don't compromise your balance. So already, I'm telling you, by these things that I'm telling you right now, kicks are not better than punches. Or strikes that are based on legs, be it a roundhouse, be it whatever, are not as effective as hand strikes. Okay, so that eliminates the first possibility. Now, then I'm not saying that all kicks, okay, because there's like a front kick to the shin, that is good. Okay, that is equivalent to um to what I'm talking about. So that one is excluded. So if you're gonna kick somebody to the front of the shin with just your leg, that's fine. Side kick to the shin, to the knee, that's fine. Okay, but now let's try to see it the mentality of, say, like a Wing Chun guy. So a Wing Chun guy is always gonna advocate for wheel punches, right? And if you ask them, they're gonna tell you it's faster. You know, it creates forward momentum, and you land more, right? You look at a karate guy, he's gonna say, um, we're more about power, right? We're more about one hit, one punch, some shit like that, right? So they're advocating for power. Now let's talk to a boxer. A boxer is gonna tell you the number one punch is a jab, and you ask them why the jab. Number one is a simple punch, right? It's closer to your opponent because you're punching with your lead hand, so it's already there. All you have to do is extend it, stretch it out, flick it out, boom, it's there. Number three is it takes less energy than any other strike. Number four, you could do it over and over again without losing that much energy. So that is the best punch. But it's not the best punch because it's the best punch. It's the best punch because of the mentality of that punch that goes into the mentality of a boxer. Now, what can we do, going back to kicks, to find a kick that is that effective, that easy to use, and that easy to use repetitively? Is, like I said, the front kick to the shin, the front kick to the knee. And that's all I'm saying. Just advocating those mentality, those techniques to your kicks is going to make those better. I don't know why Akuma's here. I'm excited about Akuma for in Street Fighter 6. But he's here. Um, so oh, and that's my avatar getting his ass beat by some. Let's go back to this over here. So that's what I'm saying, guys. Okay, I'm not saying MMA sucks. I'm not saying, I like MMA. Okay, it's a fun sport to watch. I prefer boxing a little bit more, but it doesn't mean that I hate MMA, and it doesn't mean that I don't think MMA has a future. Of course, it has a future. People just need to watch it more, and more boxers need to get into it too as well. Um, but that's what I think that the best punch is the jab, or things that work like the jab, which, like I said before, um, the lead kick to the shin or to the knee would be that um, kick. But anyways, guys, I hope you understood where I was coming from, um, and that's gonna be it for today, guys. Just like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you guys later.